we're live, ladies and gentlemen. We're a little bit early. But guess what? That's just how we're going to roll today. Today's that kind of day. Perfectly sunny outside. Perfectly sunny inside. I'm happy you're here with me. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, this one's going to have to be a little bit quick. I'm not going to go the full hour, but we're going to accomplish some pretty cool things. Let me introduce you really quick to the photos. These photos are from the video I posted on my channel yesterday. That is right. Every Sunday, I am posting a video. Every Monday, I am editing the photos from that video. And then every Thursday, I'm hosting a podcast at noon. I haven't figured out the time for that, but I think that's going to be good enough. If you are here live, jump in the chat. If you are not here live, I will see you live next Monday at 7 o'clock. Well, every Monday at 7 o'clock. Really, 7 o'clock CET. That's Oslo time because that's where you'll find me. But let's get to it. Speaking of Norway, these photos were shot on the ultimate Norwegian road trip with Polestar cars last summer. That is right. We're a little bit delayed. Only 1 year. Whatever. Is what it is. Photos are still pretty cool. These are all unedited, straight out of the camera. Look at the sheep. Having a good time. We're going to try to get through a few today. Let's see how many we can get through. If you're in the chat, let me know how everything sounds. Let me know how everything's going. Let me know what's going on with your life. What are you guys up to today? What is going on this perfectly sunny Monday? Good start to the week. Speaking of sunny, it was not so sunny that day. Pretty cool shot. Shot up through the panoramic window that goes over the top of the Polestar 2. These are all photos of the Polestar 2. We had a road trip where we had 5 of them. We drove from Oslo. I was a part of it for a lot of the trip, not all of it. The real champions were the people who were part of it for all of it. We were showing it off to everywhere in Norway. We took it from Oslo, and then we drove around the coast, all the way up to Lofoten, and then over to Tromsø. And then I had the opportunity to take one of the cars back to Oslo. Fun fact, I did it all in one day, the trip back to Oslo. One drive. I started the epic novel that is Moby Dick the second I got into the car in Tromsø. And I finished it the second I got back to Oslo. It's like a 24-hour drive. That was ridiculous. I'm going to start by enabling profile corrections. These photos were shot, by the way, on Sony's a7R III. I am a Sony ambassador. I feel like I'm obliged to say that every time I stream. Just to let you guys know, I use Sony cameras, and if it comes off that I'm trying to sell them, it's probably because they pay me. They did not pay for this stream, though, just to let you know, so I'm going to try to be honest with you guys. First thing I noticed is the photo's kind of dark. I did that so I would keep some detail in the clouds. So I'm going to bring the clouds down and bring the photo back up. Exposure. And when I adjust the exposure, I'm only looking at the car, really. I'm only looking at the subject. Just kind of pushing it up to the point where I think it makes sense, and then bringing the highlights back down to where I think they make sense. But I wanted to correct how bright the sky was, but I didn't want to correct how bright the car was. I'm not going to brush the car just yet. I'm just going to create a little bit of a, what is this, a radial filter, radial gradient right here over the car, just to bring some of that pop back in the car, in the lines on the road, stuff like that. I'm just going to take the white. It is a white car after all. And I'm going to bump it up. Highlights. Bump them up too a little bit. There we go. Now we're closer. Photo's got a lot of blue in it. I don't know if I need that much blue in my life. So let's drop it down a bit. And since we're dropping down the saturation, let's also drop the luminance a bit, and that will start to balance everything out. I notice it does affect the road quite a bit. Let's bring it back up to here. There's probably some purple in that blue, so let's drop the purple hue all the way to blue. Yeah, it's one of those days. I'm feeling like that right now. A little goofy. Let's brush back in some of the whites on the car. The car is white. We want it to be white and bright and clean. It is the subject of the photo, after all. So let's brush it back. There we go. How are we feeling about that? What are you guys thinking? How are you guys doing? If you're watching the stream and you are not in the chat, you're doing yourself a disservice because I read everything in the chat and I respond to it within reason. So you have that to look forward to. Let me know what's going on in your life. What's going on in your day? What do you think of the photos? Did you see the video yesterday? What do you think of the video? Now, the only red in the photo is in the taillights, which is perfect for me because I can just move the slider up to bring more attention to the super cool and unique taillights. I think that's a pretty good place to be. I like that. There might be some orange in those taillights too. And I'm correct in thinking so. Usually the highlights, if you shoot some like a red light, usually the highlights are orange. And since they are orange, let's fix that and bring them back down to red. We'll go to -20. Good round number. Why not? Now, a lot of the greens, Photoshop reads them as yellow. So when we want to start messing with the greens, let's play with the yellow slider first. And you see that whole right side of the picture pretty much turns to green. And I want them to be green. So let's move up to slider to, let's go +65. We don't need it to be at 100. There's no point. And then let's desaturate it a bit because I want a little less intensity in those greens. Let's also darken them a little bit. And then let's go to the actual greens. This should hit a lot more. There we go. Yeah, now we're talking. So let's drop this down. Maybe blue them up a bit. Just a little. Make them a bit colder. Not by much. Let's go to 12. Hey, why not? And I will brighten these because I want a little bit more texture in the greens in the photo. So far, so good. Pretty good start, I think. Before, after. Pretty simple. Not super complicated. I do kind of want to save some of the sky a bit more. I think it still is pretty bright. So I'm going to add a linear gradient. Just down there. Look at that already. That's a pretty good place to be. What do you guys think? Those of you in the chat, what do you think? Hit me up. Let me hear what's going on in your life. Maybe there's a little too much attention here. Let's try to brighten up some of this a bit. I think it's losing some of its distinctiveness, some of its detail, some of its texture. Let's bring up the exposure and the whites just so we can get some of this sheen popping. Let's make it an oval, and then let's redirect that oval down into the center of the photo. And then we'll play with the exposure a bit from there. There we go. That's looking okay. So before and after. Okay. Okay, I see you. Let's hit Command E and send it to Photoshop. And we'll just wait. Let's just wait here. Hang out for a second. What's going on with you guys? First water break. Photoshop always takes a second to open. So you just got to be a little bit patient. Here it is. Welcome to the party, Photoshop. How you doing? Nobody's in the chat. Get in the chat. What's going on, you guys? I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. I'm the boring one. I want this to be a conversation, not just one way. I want to hear what's going on in your guys' world. Get in the chat. Let's make it happen. Let's turn this into a conversation. I like how grand the landscape is around the photo. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? That's kind of the selling point. So I want to add a little bit of haze just to the more distant stuff to give a little bit more of a distance between the car and the background. And to do that, I'm going to add a circle filter. What is it called? Radial gradient, of course. I'm just going to go white. Just white. And I'm going to do a little one here, and then I'm going to manipulate it slightly afterwards. Now, it touches quite a lot of photo that I don't need it to touch. It's also very bright. So I'm going to dim it down. I'm going to add a mask. Linear gradient this time. Make it black. And let's just get that a little bit under control. Just a little bit. Not too much. Just a little. I'm gonna lower that so it becomes a little bit more believable. And then get the brush out. Do the same thing. Just fine tuning. Once again, I don't need it to overflow into the mid layers too much. I just want it on that back layer. And you know what? It's looking pretty close. It's looking pretty close. We can add some color to the photo by adding a new layer. Well, you know what? Let's add some color to the taillights because they are kind of bright. You kind of lose some of the saturation. So let's take a brush. Let's take a sample. You hold Alt and click on whatever color you want. Let's take a sample there. I'm going to go down to about here. Hold Shift. Brush it straight over. Now we've colored the whole tail light there. And then let's play with some blends. Soft light. It might have to be soft light. I like soft light. So let's play with that. Let's make this a bit larger. Go all the way across the back. Click once, hold Shift, and then click again. I feel like that didn't do what I wanted it to do. There we go. Let's go there. Same thing here. How you guys feeling so far? How are you feeling? Once again, if you're watching this after the fact, if you watch it live, you can join in the chat. I'm live every Monday, 7 o'clock. Try to go for about an hour. Today I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, because it's perfect weather outside, and it would be a shame to waste it. Not that spending my time with you is a waste, but let's call it there. That's pretty good. It pops quite a lot. So let's look before and after. It just adds a little bit of pop. I like it. I think it's a good thing. Let's see if we can color the whole thing. Let's go with Midnight Green, which, by the way, is an Eagles color. Go Birds. Let's soft light blend the whole thing in. And let's start from 0 and work our way up and just see where we want to be. I'm going to brush out the car if I can. Well, let's at least see what it looks like. Let's give it a try. It did kind of darken the photo, though. So we brush out the car. The car should pop a bit more against the background. I don't want to brush out the blacks because I like that it actually reflects the color that I'm adding. Oops. Not now. Get out of here. Let's do this. Let's do this. This feels good. Here, once again, you click once, hold Shift, and then that will give you a straight line when you click again. Pretty easy. All right, looks like we covered enough. I don't need it to be perfect. Let's save it. Now we're saving. Command S, that'll save it back in the Lightroom. And while it's doing that, we're going to hang. I'm going to take some water. Woo! How's the music? Is it quiet? I can bump it up a bit. There we go. Ooh. This is a groove. This is a jam. And here we are, back in Lightroom. Now, if you want to push some focus towards the car, Andreas, more cowbell. Rainbow Road vibes. More cowbell. There's never enough, is there? Tom says, looks good. Even though the dark green darkened the image, it gave it a good pop as well. Yeah, it does. To get a lighter image out of that, you can. So if I sample this green again, I mean, I'm in the mask, but if I sample the green again and you just sort of slide it brighter, it won't darken it as much, but I think it doesn't give it such a rich saturation. I think the problem there is you end up losing a bit of the pop that the darker one gives it. Let's play a little bit with the vignetting, just a bit, and let's get it just to where it's tolerable. And since it did darken up the photo a little bit, let's add back in some brightness with the radial filter, just right around the car. That's a little bit much, but I think we're at a pretty good place there. There we go. 3, we'll save it. So here is the original, before, and then after. There it is. Okay, cool. So first photo, done. Look at that, 15 minutes. That took far too long. What's wrong with those? We can do better. Speaking of which, let's just copy these settings and let's bring them over to a similar photo. Command V. I got the hiccups. Now it brightened it. Crazy how presets don't just work every time. Who would have thought? So let's darken it. We ended up losing quite a lot of brightness because of this highlight drop. So instead, let's control that by doing a linear filter. Just bumping the highlights down, dropping the exposure a bit, and pulling it straight down from the top. We can do better. So let's drop the exposure a little bit more. And let's add some dehaze. Dehaze is just going to give it some punch, give it some drama. Drama is what we're looking for. There we go. There we go. Cool. So, decent place to be. So far, so good. Not too dramatic. The photo itself may be a little bit purple, at least in the road. But then again, maybe that's because I was staring at the green photo for so long last time. Let's, we got a problem with these things. What color are those supposed to be? If we hit Alt, we can see the original photo. Yeah, those were, those got taken for a ride. I'm guessing, and I am wrong, they are probably orange. Yes. Let's make them pop a bit more and bring them back to what they should look like. Then, just like we did on the other photo, let's brighten the car. Give the car some more punch. Highlights. Whites. Tom, what's going on in your life today, man? What are you doing inside hanging out with me? Why aren't you outside playing in the sunshine? I shouldn't ask too many questions. I should just appreciate that you're here. And I do, Tom. Thank you for being here. So, let's hit all the car. We'll go one step at a time. There it is. So now we got the whole car covered, more or less. Let's try to bring out the whites a little bit more. We are bleeding a bit onto the road. So let's hit the erase, hit the Z, get in there and just sort of brush out the road because we don't need it. We don't need it. There we go. Down around the tires to be certain. Up here around the top just in case. Same thing on this side. Let's hope AutoMask just knows what it's doing. Fingers crossed. Let's call it there. Oops. Uh-oh. Computer's slow today. Slow today. Battery looks okay, though. We're not going to have a repeat of the Cyber Photo stream. If you're there, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know if I want to... Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Let's darken the road a little bit because the road is a bit distracting. It's a little bit too bright, a little bit too much happening. So let's just go in, darken her up. And... Ooh, my mouse battery is running low. I have pushed it too far. Let's start down here and just go step by step. I want the road to be a little bit darker so the car pops because the car is white and clean. And I think there's a lot more opportunity for it to stand out in the photo. Damn, do you see how slow the computer's being today? This is going to end up bleeding onto the car, but whatever. Let's commit to it. AutoMask, do your job. There we go. There we go. Easy as that. Now we got a darker road. Let's play with dehaze and really get that road to disappear a bit. Oh, it's a really, really uneven brush job, but hey, You win some, you lose some, right? One thing we don't want is the white paint on the road to be caught up in this, because we want some of that contrast still. And I think it looks cool. I think the white paint on the sides of the roads frames the car a bit better. So let's just go through all the spots that I forgot. Damn, that was a dramatic streak. I'm also hitting the gravel on the side of the road. I'm okay with it. Whatever. So let's go back to our technique. We click once, we hold shift, and then we click again. And hopefully, yep, there you go. Let's just go all the way up the road. And then we'll go up this side. And there we go. Pretty self-explanatory, I hope. If not, drop a comment and I'll try to explain it. So, never let perfection get in the way of good enough. That's where we're going to stand. For now, Command E. Let's send it over to Photoshop from Lightroom. One day it will open. Here we go. We're in. God, that road looks so ugly. I did that poorly. I did that so poorly. Let's try, so since the green darkened the last photo so much, let's try bringing it up to 0. And then paint the whole thing. Hit soft light blend. And it does darken it a bit, but let's start from 0 and go up and just see. Oh yeah, that's not so bad. And then let's brush out the car, just like we did last time. Try not to hit the windows, because I want that green to make sense. If you take away, I can just take it away from the windows real quick so we can see. It's hard to tell, but you see it ends up just sort of changing the color of a color that should be neutral on the car, right? And if the color on the road is meant to be neutral and this color on the car is meant to be neutral, it just kind of creates this disconnect that I don't think helps tell the story too much. You end up with a car that sort of looks like it was photoshopped in. But the rest of the car, let's just go for it. There we go. This this is a lengthy process. Hang in there, everybody. Hang in there. We're just gonna go over the whole thing. Whatever. Bigger brush equals faster. Let's just let's go. Since we're doing the white, let's do the white number plate as well. Let's just let it bleed. Whatever. Could be worse. Let's hit that button. I don't know what that button is on everybody else's computer. For me, it's the at sign. If you're Norwegian, it's the at sign. You tap it and you can see where you've brushed and where you haven't. Let's go in and make the reds pop. Using the brush tool, let's zoom in a bit. Take a bright red. Make it the appropriate size and just paint over the whole thing. There we go. Not the best. Ooh, that one was not even close. Damn, that sunset's about to be real today. It's about to be lit, as they used to say. I'm guessing they don't anymore. Who knows? Maybe lit isn't so lit anymore. Can we go back to Fleek? I was just getting used to that. There we go. We just paint the whole tail light. And it's just going to help the car pop a bit more. Or the car, it's just going to help the tail light pop a bit more. Because I think the tail light is one of the coolest features. Then we go soft light, right, is what we chose. You can also go hard. Hard light pops even more. Let's go hard for this one. Why not? I'm just going to bring it down a bit so it's not super obvious. Command S. save it, and we're going back in the Lightroom. That's right. 25 minutes in, how we feeling? I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling okay. How you guys feeling? What's going on out there? I'm thirsty, a little bit hungry. I'm working hard today. Today was a tough one. I don't know why. It's just a lot of things happening. A lot of things happening. That's the fun of it, especially when you're freelance. That's what makes it so satisfying. We'll add some vignetting in to push some to push some focus back towards the middle, so the eyes go straight to the car. Let's keep it a little bit clean. And from here, there's only one thing I really want to do, and that's brighten up the paints on the side of the road. This will be just simple and dirty. And we're going to trust Auto Mask with our lives on this one. Don't let me down, Auto Mask. By the way, I just recently shot a video that I think is going to blow your dicks off. It's going to be sweet. The photo I'm going through now, I'm editing. It's taking me days, so I don't know how I'm going to do it on the live stream. But it's going to be sick. I promise. That's about all we need to do on there. So I'm just going to leave it there. I think all the greens are going to read as green at this point. They all start at 0 after you save it back in the Lightroom. I just want to brighten them, make them a bit softer. Let's go with that. There we go. It's a good place to be. What if the greens read it as aqua? Oh, they do kind of. Strange. Let's put some brightness in the aqua too. Why not? Hey, you only live once. And maybe the blue is a bit too much. Tom, the Lambo. Yes, it is, Tom. Yes, it is. You know what? I can actually show you a preliminary edit of what it's going to look like. Give me 1 second. It's pretty freaking cool. Oh, no. Where is it? Library. Instagrams. Here we go. Are you ready, Tom? Exclusive. Let's make it full screen. Look at this. That's the first attempt. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. That's just a proof of concept. But how sick is that? That's about to be wild. About to be wild. Damn. Yeah, I hope it's possible to even edit it on stream. It's a big photo. Let's go with this one. So this one's from the video yesterday that I posted. And let's just do a really quick, fast, down and dirty edit. Can you hear those sirens? Are those sirens that loud? Now this photo is a little bit shot from down low, pointed up high, so you have kind of a warp in the perspective. To fix that, go down to transform, constrain crop, and then we're going to mess with the vertical slider. And what we're looking at here is you see when you point a camera up, the lines end up notched straight on the sides. It's the same on both sides. Let's just keep an eye on those lines, and let's go until they're vertical. That looks about it. There it is. And then now we're off and running. Shadows. There's a lot of detail on the car that's being lost in the shadows. Highlights. Bump them down so you get a more even exposure. Let's contrast it to give it some punch. Dehaze is going to give us too much punch for now. Nah, let's leave it. 10. Plus 10. Let's hit it with a brush. Try to get some detail back in those shadows. Just across the back. Oops, I clicked a button on accident. We'll never know what button it was because it did nothing. I think that's an okay amount there. Oops, I don't want it to overflow into the sunlit part of the car. I just want it to be on the shadows. And then I'll take a gradient and let's try to save this part of the car. And you see it's so dark that we can't really save it. It gets a bit grainy. So let's just do what we can. we'll just do what we can. And that's, I mean, we can't even get away with that. I think it's too much. So let's get rid of it. And let's just let the focus be on the tail light. So before, after, already pretty dramatic change. If we play with the blues too much, it affects the car. We don't want a gray car. The car wasn't gray when I shot it. So let's leave it about here. Let's drop the saturation a little bit. And then, what is the orange? What is orange in this photo? Nothing too important is orange, so let's keep the orange down a bit low. Right about here. Yeah, there we go. What is yellow now? Everything. I don't want it to be yellow, I want it to be orange, so let's drag it a bit down. The hue, that is, and then the luminance a bit because I think it's a little bit too bright. So let's hit Command E, go into Photoshop. Let's hang out for a second while it does that. Come on, there it is. Okay, nice. I want some direction to the light. But first, I want to paint the whole photo dope ass brown and just see what happens. Once again, it's going to darken the photo like it did with the green ones before. We'll soft light blend it. And I think it sort of overcompensates. I don't want that to, I just want it to hit the highlights. So I'm going to gradient it out of, oh, this is going to be hard. I'm going to try to gradient it out of the shadows, and I'm never going to be able to do it well. I might have to do that for now. And then use the brush. Then let's go in with a brush. There we go. And then brush it back into the highlights. There we go. Hit it with the gradient here. Oops, wrong color. Hit it with a black gradient so we get rid of it. We're doing all this in the mask layer. And then since these are all shadowed as well, we'll just quick and easy brush them out. We don't need this to be perfect. We're not sending this to the client. Let's see what we're doing here. There it is. Quick and easy. Quick and easy. That's the goal. There we go. We're doing it, ladies and gentlemen. We're brushing. Whatever. That's going to be good enough. We won't spend too much time on that. I'm going to add a bit of direction to the sun by using the sunburst yellow. Sunburst yellow. There it is. Okay, nice. Sun is coming from this direction, so let's just give ourselves a radial gradient. A radial filter. Bring it in, screen blend it, and then drop the opacity and get rid of the shadows. I'm not going to do too much of that. Come on, where's the black? There. Not too much, just sort of good enough for now. Hit it with a little bit of brush. Tom says, how much would you clean it up for the client? Remove all the wiring and fire alarm on the wall. Yes, if you go back to the video and you see the photo that I shared there, I did a lot of cleaning up. I did end up removing all this trash here. I got rid of the fire alarm and stuff, like you said, on the wall. There's some stickers. I'm pretty sure I got rid of like these on the wall here. Just the little things like that. It's not huge and it's not too difficult of a job. It's just kind of just to kind of put focus right on the car. I'm just going to mess around here, get rid of some of this in the shadows. There we go. Not going to do much more than that. I'm going to keep it clean. I'm going to go back and fine tune. Going to fine tune in Lightroom. There we go. Yeah, it's always a battle how much you want to clean up a photo. Photo like this where there's a lot of negative space, like this amount of wall here, if you want to get rid of stuff on the same textured wall, it's not very difficult. You just take samples from this wall and you push it over to here and get rid of it. But it does take time. And if it's just something for Instagram or whatever, then nobody's going to notice anyway. I mean, nobody's seen the before photo, so it's hard to... Yeah, I mean, it's hard for people to call you out and be like, well, you didn't clean... Why did you clean up this? And also, maybe we're just not that kind of photographer. Maybe we're not Photoshop artists. One thing I do want to do is bring out the rims, by the way. These are performance rims, so they are kind of special. I'm just going to make them a little bit brighter. And then one final touch. Let's vignette it a bit. Save the highlights. So it's not huge, but you see you get a little bit more out of the photo playing with the colors like that. If we go to the first one, here's the before and then the after. You just get a more evenly balanced photo. You get a bit more richness in the colors. You get a bit more warmth out of the photo. And on that, let's go full face mode, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call it there. I'm going to call it there. The weather's too perfect. I got to go outside. We're about to run out of sunlight, and I don't want that to happen to me. So I am on my way out. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Kyle. If you didn't see the video, I posted on Sunday. Go check it out. It was dope. Pretty cool times. These are the photos that were in that video. So you want to see how they were shot? Go there. You want to see how they were edited? Thank you for being here. Next time, if you weren't live and you weren't hanging in the chat, I will see you in the chat. Thank you, everybody. I'm out. Peace.